Hey there, I'm Andrew, you're watching ThatGamerAjax, and for today's video, I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive into one of my personal favorite tabletop role-playing games, Veil of the Void. Now, I've talked a little bit about Veil of the Void and some of the general basics of this game, but I wanted to just do a brief introduction if you are interested in this game and what it has to offer. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the races that you're able to play in Veil of the Void, just to get you started on this sci-fi fantasy role-playing game. So first up, we have the Celestia, which are described as basically a thin layer of glass that has an infinite galaxy inside of them. They are a race of star people that are inherently unique to this game just because of the way that they operate. Celestia are created with the sole purpose of obtaining a goal, which makes them very open to great role-play mechanics. They are also unique in the fact that they do not need to eat or sleep, and they can actually survive the overall atmosphere of space. A unique talent that they have is that they are also able to link the fates of multiple enemies at one time. You can do this once per day, and it means that anytime that you damage one enemy that is linked to the others, they all take a small fraction of that damage, which makes it so that way if you have a kind of bursty character, you're able to do a lot of damage to a lot of targets very, very quickly. Next up, you have the Elan. The Elan are a series that are kind of like space elves is the easiest way that I can describe them, and they are very unique in that their age is actually going to impact their overall stats in the game. If you are younger, you might be a little bit more athletic, but you're a little less wise. So there are trade-offs to what you can and cannot do. They're also an insanely customizable race just because of the number of ancestry paths that you can choose from when you're making this character, meaning that you can make something that is specifically tailored to what you are wanting to do in this game. Up next are the Exiled, which are specters that have come back from the realm of death. What's unique about them is that they are a little bit risky to play because in Veil of the Void, if your character dies and you are brought back, you are considered an exile, but if you die again, that's it. No more, you don't get to come back, period. So it's a little bit risky if you want to be a new player to this game, but you get some really great benefits from it. Now, if you come back as an exile, you don't even have to be the original race that you were, meaning that you can take a unique trait from one of the other races that are out there, and you're also able to go into an ethereal form, which makes it so you can pass through solid objects, no problem. Now we have the humans, which I know that a lot of people in tabletop games look down on humans as being a very basic race to play that don't really offer a lot of unique things. However, Veil of the Void does a few things right, in that depending on the training that you receive, you can excel at very specific tasks. They're also incredibly versatile, and they are able to learn an additional language at character creation that most of the other races aren't able to do. A very unique trait that humans are also able to do is that they can succeed on any given check of a certain rating or lower once per day. Now you have the Quarians, which are Veil of the Void's version of dwarves, though they are a little bit different from your typical fantasy selection. Quarians tend to be a little bit of one of the taller races, averaging between 7 and 8 feet tall, and they also have 4 arms. Because of this, they're able to carry heavier loads than some of the other races. They excel at dual wielding, and they can even carry heavy weapons using all their arms, meaning that you can dual wield with those at a much easier rate than some of the other races are able to. Quarians also have a unique brand on their person, which makes it so they have it really impacts the stats that you have with this race, and once per day you are able to unleash a flame around you that damages enemies and also kind of destroys their armor a bit, making them a lot easier for you and your allies to hit. Now we have the Prototype. Prototype are a bio-organic race. Basically, if you wanted to play a machine, this is the best way to go about doing so. This is another one of those races that is insanely customizable when you are first starting out. You have a lot of options to choose from that are going to impact your stats, and if you want to forfeit that entirely, you can even take an additional level, meaning that you can start at a higher level than your friends. This is something that one of my current players has actually done. They are also expert hackers, meaning that anytime that they are working with something that is electronic or computer-based, they are able to automatically succeed on that once per day. They do not need to eat or sleep, but they do need a little bit of time to recharge. And this is one of those cases where the flavor of your character is really going to actually impact some of your stats. So if you want to have 2 legs, you're going to be a little bit slower than a prototype that might have 4 legs, as a quick example. Now we have the Reapers. Reapers are the closest thing to an elemental class that we have in Veil of the Void currently, but they are very dependent on which realm they come from. The most unique thing about a Reaper is that they have an inherent weapon that is attached to their person that does unique damage based from that realm, and you can even once per day tear a line in front of you just to damage all enemies in that area for a very flat amount of damage. They are a very unique race in my opinion, though unfortunately I haven't really had any players use one yet. And last but not least, we have the Topaken. These are tree people that are very interesting because they age with the seasons, and they are also one of the only races that has an inherent armor to them without needing to actually purchase equipment for it. Now, this does get broken if they are damaged, and they are susceptible to fire, but you have a lot of different benefits from playing this class. Roleplay is a little bit important with them because they are tree people. They don't need to eat or sleep in a traditional sense, but you also need to make sure that you're acting out that you're getting your sun or your water. And if you don't get that water on a daily basis, then you're actually going to start taking damage over time from it. Now, along with these benefits, they are able to summon a small army of tree people once per day, and you really need to work with your game master to kind of explain how this works, because that army is going to be controlled by them. So these are the basic 8 races that are currently playable, though I'll make sure that I revisit this when future ones are released. Given the time of this recording, we should be getting a few more races that are going to be coming out in the very, very near future. But these are just the very basics of how these races work. I feel they are unique compared to some of the other tabletop games that I have experienced so far, and I absolutely love this game. Granted, I have a couple of biases when it comes to the races themselves, but I would highly recommend checking this game out and playing one of these for yourself. But until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.